Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Words of Heart podcast. I'm your host, Dion Sanchez, and joining me in this episode is Beth Thorp. Did I say that right?
You got it.
Yes, awesome. Thank you for joining me, Beth.
Thank you for having me. So glad to be here with you.
Me as well. It's been a nice 10 or so minutes getting into this, but let's not waste any more time. Could you please share with my audience a bit about yourself, your wonderful book in the background? Please give
Yes.
us the inside scoop into you.
Okay, sure. My name is Beth Thorp, and I'm the executive director of the Thorp Foundation, and that's in memory of my son Mitchell, which is part of what we wrote the book about. I'm a philanthropist. I'm a faith influencer. I speak a lot as keynote speaker on various subjects, and I'm here about helping people. And the Thorp Foundation came about when my son was undiagnosed to his death, which is basically unheard of nowadays, but it happened. And it took us on a 5 year, very long, hard journey throughout the United States, in and out of different hospitals, looking for answers, finding doctors to try to figure out what was going on with him. Symptoms came out at the age of 13. He passed at 18. And really, it was one of those hardest moments, I guess, anyone would go through, right? You don't wish it upon anyone to be part of this club of losing a child, right? It's just devastating, and what it takes a family through from healing, from trauma, and you name it. We went through it, and how to overcome not becoming divorced, because usually that's what happens when someone's caring for a child. So through that all, we heard the still small voice of God speaking, because we're very faith-based people, telling me, not audible, but in my spirit, that this is not the end. This is the beginning. And I sat up in my bed when I was curled up in my deepest pain and grief, didn't know what that meant. And my husband, who was at the church that week too, we were helping two boys that had, he heard about two boys that had cancer. One had lymphoma, one had non-Hodgkin's. And again, both families trying to make ends meet. Everyone wants to help everybody. And he came home and to tell me, I had a really strong sense of feeling that God wants us to start something. So we need to start a foundation to help more families going through what we went through. So that's how the foundation was born. And now we've given back, oh my goodness, and counting, 2.6 million and counting, back into the community, helping families, helping children, fighting for their tomorrows.
First off, I commend you truly. I wish I had an applause sound effect. Maybe I'll figure out a way to incorporate that. But I truly admire you, and I can't imagine as a parent having to go through that. And to be 18, that's really when your life fully starts in a way. And he didn't get a chance to experience that.
Right. So we wanted to take his legacy and move it forward. And there were so many people along our journey that said, oh, Beth, you really need to tell your story. Look what God did with this, turn tragedy into glory for him. And you need to tell your story. So I kept documenting things along the way. I just wasn't ready to write it. But, it was when COVID hit, right? Shut everything down. It quieted my world, which is usually what it takes. And again, hearing that voice that God does so faithfully for me to speak to me, he said, daughter, it's time to write our story. Because we are his witness, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm like, okay, when you hear him speak, you move. You got to move. There's no question. So, and prior to that, I could not, I understand what writer's block is now, because I was frozen. I think I was frozen because I was like, that's where the enemy comes in, the fear of, can I write this? Can I do him God justice? Can I, all those things, those voices that, when we talk about mental health, how to handle all those issues.
Yes.
But I finally got to that space where I was able to write it. It took me 15 months, 9 months to write the manuscript, another 6 months with my editor. My very first book proposal, once I got the manuscript written, I'm like, you're like, whew, got it written. And then they say, you think writing your book was hard? Now try to get it published, right? That's really hard. So then you're like, oh, where do you begin with all that process, right? So someone suggested I go to Barnes and Noble and buy the book. It was like a Bible, this thick, huge, of all the publishers and editors throughout the United States. And then you begin looking at that and you go, oh my goodness, where do you begin? It's like throwing a dart. But I got some consultation from another gal who wrote a book titled Heaven is for Real. She lives here in this region. And she gave me some wonderful insight. I was showing her a couple publishers I was interested in. And I said, go big or go small. So I went and hit for my first one I wanted to go after in New York, a big time publisher. And I'll tell you another miracle. They sent me it's hanging on my wall right here. I looked at it. The congratulations letter, the week of Mitchell's passing, which was in November, I received it.
Oh,
Oh, I just was waving it to the heavenlies, just crying. I'm like, oh my goodness. Not only did I get accepted on the first book proposal submission, that's a miracle in itself. And then to have the congratulations letter come in the week of his passing was the second miracle for me. I was like, oh boy, God, you must really want your story to be told out there through us. So that's where it is. It just got released the end of June worldwide. So that's a beautiful thing.
it is a beautiful thing. And I just love that you're sharing his legacy so it will live on, truly.
Yeah.
And I do believe in what you said about tragedy turning into purpose. From I'm a believer as well, so I'm right there with you. In regards to that component, I can relate to that fairly well. Um, um, Before 2020, November 2019, I was experiencing probably a not so lovely experience, and I was developing symptoms of diabetes, but
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure where or how or had any knowledge of that really. Probably one friend had it, but I didn't make it a point to dive in or figure it out or what it was. I was on a precipice of death pretty much. And
Mm.
all these, and this was surrounding events that in which entail celebration, like my birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of these monumentous holidays that usually involve huge family gatherings and celebrating life. And I didn't think I had a life left to live, quite
Yeah.
honestly. Um,
Right.
it was a really depressing time. And I know God was up there doing something, but I wasn't sure what he was doing or if he was taking a vacation. I don't really know what, but I honestly he doesn't take a vacation, but it was just really saddening because I was at the point where, okay, what's the answer? I wasn't gonna be around here on Earth to hear it. I was probably gonna be up there being like, what happened, God? What's going on? I'm here. A little too
Yeah.
soon. But in regards to the purpose factor, that was through my diagnosis in January
Mm.
2020, which is not a year anyone wants to be diagnosed with anything, I'm sure.
Right.
Which,
Exactly.
yeah, because there's a virus that can kill you and there's no vaccine, and you also have to battle cancer and all these other factors in addition to not being infected. It's just a whole lot of can of worms
Oh,
that
yeah.
you weren't ready to take on. And for me, I was just very blessed to be able to, and I love that you mentioned God wants to share my story, your son's story, and your story with that. And I just truly love that because for
Yeah.
me, my story wasn't over apparently.
It's not. And that's the thing. What happens that your audience needs to know when you're in the deepest pits of whatever. And even I walked through that too. I said, God, where are you? We had people praying over Mitchell, over our family. And why aren't you listening? Where are you, Lord? It's human nature, right?
Yes.
And even though God is faithful, he was there and he is there and he's walking us through the fire and he's walking us through the trial. So, it's so important in my world to hang on to your faith because, faith doesn't always take you out of the problem. Faith takes you through the problem. Does that make
Yes.
sense? Yeah.
Absolutely it does.
Yeah. And so it's so important to have that. And faith gives you the ability to handle the pain. Faith doesn't always take, away the pain, right? It just helps you get
Yeah.
through it. And then when there's storms of life, faith doesn't always take you out of the storm. Faith helps you calm the storm around you. So walking in that is very, very important. And, it pleases God. If you do have strong faith, you can get through many things. And that's where it goes back into what makes your mental health so important. And even all the families and children we help, part of that is talking to them of when they're feeling like life is over, that why is this happening to me? All those questions that you are feeling too
Yes.
surface. I mean, it's human nature. And it's helping people to deal with that. And in our case, we help children. So we go from birth to age 21. So we're dealing with different age groups and so forth. But I'm glad you persevered, because usually when something big is about ready to happen, I always say the enemy was trying to take me out, but I wouldn't allow him to do that, right?
Yeah, he was doing something. I didn't see it as an enemy. I just saw it as real life. But obviously, the enemy could be interpreted in many different ways, and
Absolutely.
it was a really crazy time. And we're about soon to be 3 years of this virus, unfortunately, which means 3 years of me adapting to this new health change while trying to stay safe from the virus. And it was a scary time. And I would be lying if I said I didn't consider just ending my suffering. I would be lying if I didn't say that, because
Mm-hmm.
it was just so devastating and I didn't know what was happening. My family was crying every single day. I was crying.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be embracing this new age I've entered, and I couldn't even do that because this new age
Mm.
just seemed like it was a waste of time because, hey, I'm sick and I'm falling apart. I'm basically ash, like nothing was turning around, and it was just really depressing. And my faith has always been strong. It's always been a part of me. It was really, really low. I don't think it's ever been
Mhm.
that low
Yeah.
in that point
Yes,
in my
and
life.
it's true. It was a test of your faith, and we all go through testings in life. I mean, this life is not easy, and we will all be hit. I mean, with something down the road, along the way, something's going to happen, and you have to
Yes.
be prepared to have a firm foundation and where you're going to stand on, to get you through the tough times in life. And so, there's a lot of different steps that people can take to care for themselves mentally, and why mental health is so important. And that's why so many people talk about it nowadays, because so many people have lost hope, and especially with the pandemic going on, the isolation people felt, and they weren't even sick. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
suffering. So I empathize with you, but look where you are now, right?
Yes, I'm having this wonderful conversation, which honestly was through my diagnosis, which led me to be a warrior for change and to have these conversations that need to be discussed to impact and have people resonate with. So, yes.
Exactly. I like what you said, a warrior for change, because we called our son our warrior son. So every year
Oh,
we hold our, it all started when the community came out for us, when they heard of our situation here locally, and they heard about our situation. And we're talking, this was back in, okay, he passed in 2008. So again, prior to that, 5 years, we were going through all this, and they formed and said, we want to help your family. We know you're struggling financially. We want to do a walkathon for you. So literally there was like 600, 800 people that showed up at this walkathon, and people we didn't even know. I mean, it forever changes you. So that's a whole nother point of what community can do when community
yes.
comes together to help a person. And that's what we do every year now. We're on our 14th annual Warrior
Oh,
Spirit 5K Run Walk and Family Festival. We're known as the most inspirational run walk of the region because we bring all our families out and our children that are
oh,
healthy enough to be there. And they have team pages up, people walking for their daughter or son. And, so it's just amazing what community can do. And we inspired that through the foundation out into our community. And it's just grown. The foundation just this in March, just 2 months ago, in May, just won the Community Impact Award. So that was beautiful in
oh,
the whole in the region here. So that
congratulations.
was really wonderful to receive that. So it kind of makes you feel good that your work is, after all these years, is paying off. And yes, is the heartache of losing my son. It's always there, right?
Right.
I'll never. He's always top of my mind. I think about him every day. It never goes away. So people will say that to me, how do you go on? And I have to let the audience that know that it was very traumatic. It was 5 years dealing with it day in and day out, 2 years to come out of it and healing. And even after 2 years, where I could see the light of day again, to feel that life was still good again. Um, Literally for me, it was just God wrapping his arms around me, going, this is not the end. As I heard him, this is the beginning. I didn't really know what he meant by that.
Right, right.
So
I
I
yes.
mean, look what that meant. And that's when I know what it meant. So now 13 years later, I can look back at the fingerprints of God through our story, and I was able to write it. So that's what we hope, that it brings inspirational purpose and message of how to overcome things, how to persevere, how to heal. There's restoration in the book, how to break free, that you don't have to be a victim of the circumstance, how to move forward. So that's what the book will help. And it's written as a beautiful story. So,
I truly love that. And while we still have time, because it hasn't come up yet, the timer, um, are you thinking of writing another book at all?
oh, absolutely. People have asked me that too. Well, this one just got released in
Right,
June. So we're
right.
only in what, August, 2 months.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of promoting this book that actually there's a film producer looking at it too. We might want to take it to film. So that's a beautiful thing.
Well, that's awesome. You're like jumping ahead of something I would have already mentioned. Like, is it going to be a movie? And oh, I
Yes.
love that.
Well, that was always been in my heart because it's a beautiful story, and it's an inspirational true story, right? And it's one of those
Yes.
that people always want to watch and find hope in. And so it's gathering an interest right now. So we're going to explore this option, and we'll see where it takes us. So maybe the next podcast it'll go to movie and you can interview me then.
Yes, 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 absolutely. I hope the producers are listening to this now. That would be amazing. I'm like getting emotional. That I just love your son's story and your story, and it does deserve to be heard. It certainly, certainly does.
Yeah, it is. It's designed to give hope to the hopeless. It's designed to help heal the hearts of the brokenhearted. It's designed to help people understand how to persevere through trials. I read a chapter titled Overcomer because even after Mitchell's passing, I had a 5 centimeter brain tumor that was removed. My husband had cancer. So these are
Oh.
things we had to overcome and get through. And again, this is before we wrote the book, right?
You're right.
Okay, think about this. And then I said to my husband, I guess if God and Mitchell are calling me home, know that I'll be okay. And he was like, I had nothing to do with that. He says, no, I'll see you after your surgery, right? When they were wheeling me off.
Oh,
And then I woke up in ICU and I was just like, oh, okay, God, I guess you're not done with me yet. I got more work to do. So anyway, that's where it is. But if people are interested in the book, they can find it anywhere online where books are sold now, whether you like to buy it at Amazon or wherever you like to buy your books, Barnes and Noble, or they can go to anewcreation.org and I can actually sign a personal copy and get one to you. So whichever way
awesome.
people like to get their books, and that would be a beautiful thing. And know this, that every book that is purchased goes back to the foundation to help another child fighting for their tomorrow.
Amen to that. Speaking of overcoming, I'm trying to overcome the power of time so
Yes.
we can get through this. So I'm gonna get to the icebreaker segment. Please stay with me, time. I'll start with the icebreaker question, which honestly you kind of already know the answer to. So I don't know why I'm asking, but I do this anyway. If you had to come up with a title or chapter for your life at this precise moment, what would it be?
I'd have to title it what the book is, A New Creation.
Normally, I would say give another answer, but your answer is already beautiful, so I'm just gonna allow it. I'm just gonna allow it. Yes, a new creation, absolutely. I already shared my answer, but I'm still gonna share it. Being a warrior for change. I've already shared the diabetic miracle, I'm still alive component, me being resurrected from the dead, so to speak, which is a really biblical thing in regards to Jesus Christ, which I literally experienced through my own experience. I know that's a weird way of phrasing it. But aside from that, I've overcome a lot in my since entering this world, so to speak. Just to give
Mhm.
you a little insight, since you're a believer as well. Um, for the first years of my life, quite literally, I couldn't hear us talk. So that was the 90s. There was no medical diagnosis or explanation. Obviously, I'm having this conversation with you, so God wanted me to speak. He just didn't want me to speak quite yet. So I've had to overcome those challenges and being 2 years delayed and learning things at a slower rate. And fast forward to now, I'm in my adulthood and trying to overcome diabetes and all of those factors. So being a warrior for change is really symbiotic to my own personal journey and testimony and struggles, and just really is who I am at this precise moment and probably going forward. So
Mm-hmm. And it's good. You're an inspiration to others, right? So that's what we tell all our families and children too, who are feeling the same way, that they can be an inspiration for change as well when they move past the season of life. You are in a season that hopefully the chapter is turned, and now you're into this new chapter of being a podcast host. And so think of it. Those are the grateful moments. So you be grateful. You say thank you. I take it. Yes, and whatever's going on in your health, take control of that too. And I'm sure you have. And be a prayer warrior.
yes, absolutely. So we are going to get to the icebreaker game. Hopefully, all right, timer on my side now. Stay with me. So the icebreaker game is called Song Association. You don't have to be an avid singer. You could be a karaoke singer, a yodeler. Any vocal capacity you have can be incorporated into this game. Um, so basically, how it works in the brief time I have to explain, I give you a word. Again, you can sing it, rap it, yodel it. It has to be an actual song. You can't make it up. You can't do a poem, can't do a meditation chant. You have to use an actual song.
I hope I know some songs. I can
It's
sing too.
it's if it's in the lyrics, you're golden. You gotta try to sing it. I'm gonna throw off the title part because people say the title, but then the game is practically over because they don't sing. So it has to be in the lyrics. Again, if it's in the lyrics, you're good. However, and this is where the fun part kicks in, and I'm sure your son is gonna be laughing from heaven when I say this. You don't have the luxury of time, quite literally, because now my time's being limited as well. So you have 15 seconds, or however much time we are allowed, 15 seconds from the time I give you the word to sing it, rap it, yodel it, in that time span. You'll be impressed how quickly our brain turns to mush when it comes to this game.
I know. I can feel it already.
All right, so while we're on the clock, I will get the timer started. And all right, the first word is heart.
Heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but Lord be the heart of my heart. I can yodel it. I don't know the tune.
Uh,
I can't sing. I don't think of it. I have anything with heart.
um, well, there's a Christian song I know with the word heart. Luckily, it was played out all throughout, I want to say, the worship songs in my childhood. I believe it's called Open the Eyes of My Heart, Lord.
Oh yeah.
Open the eyes of my heart.
Oh
I
yeah. That's
want
a
to
Christian
see
song.
you.
Yeah.
I think there was like gestures in the dance, but I don't really remember.
See, that helped. You had gestures, but I do remember that song. So yeah, if it was in the faith-based genre, that would be one. So open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I don't remember the rest of it though.
I'm
That's all I
probably gonna be
know.
playing it later because now it's stuck in my head. But let's keep the game going. So the next word is word. Oh wait, yeah, words. Okay, you may have gotten a because I kind of said it before I started the timer. So words.
Words.
Yes.
You have to give us a little hints of words.
Well,
Um,
I can give you a hint now. um. So there is a song called More Than Words by the band Extreme. I just know that song being covered by another band because I'm versatile like that, even though I don't think that's a good
I
wordage.
wish I was more musical, but I don't know.
There is a song, I know, a Christian song. I don't know how to sing it. I want to say it's by Hawk Nelson, called Words. I don't
mm,
know how that goes. I just know it's in my phone and I play it sometimes. So there's that song too. So On to the last word. All right, we're overcoming the power of time. Let's see if we can keep going. So the last word, your last word. You can do this, Beth.
Oh gosh.
I believe in you. The last word is shine.
Ah. Shine the light of my heart, Lord. Shine the light of my heart, Lord. Shine the light of my heart, Lord. Shine the light of my heart. That's all I know.
I hope that's not. I'm gonna end up looking it up later. I hope that's an actual song because
I don't
that.
know. I don't know. You got the wrong gal who doesn't I'm not very musically inclined. I wish I was, but
No.
I can
Well,
sing along with people with the songs already there if you put them in front of me.
well, if it helps, many people don't get all these words. The last word I always change up though to make it fun. But again, this is just for fun, giggles. You actually knew a song example, so that was helpful.
Yeah, it's challenging, I'll have to say, especially if I'm not too musically inclined.
Yes, well, we beat the power of time, so I'm very happy. That was the goal. That was a separate game in itself. So while this is still happening, we can keep talking about music, or we can get to the final round of beating the power of time here. Um, I'm very laughable in this sense because again, time needs to be on our side. So again, I'm as much as I want to keep this conversation going. See, mm, we are really getting to the closing point of this beating time game because the timer thing just went off. So, please, while we still are here, share with my audience where they can find your book again. Give us the inside scoop on the movie when it comes out.
Yeah,
Give us
yeah.
all the ways for my audience to get in contact with you.
Absolutely. Uh, First of all, the book can be bought anywhere online where you purchase your books, online or in bookstores. If you want a personalized signed copy, you can go to my website, ANEW CREATION, ANEWCREATION.org, and I'll personally sign that book for you. If people want to know a little bit more about the Mitchell Thorp Foundation, they can go to mitchellthorp.org.
Beautiful and nice and sweet. Thank you again, Beth, for sharing your son's story and your legacy and just letting it live on and outstand the test of time and definitely outstand this interview and I'm sure many more. So thank you truly for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Awesome.
Bye.
Don't go anywhere quite yet. Um
Okay.
so my audience, thank you for joining us on this latest episode of the Words of Art podcast. If you enjoyed it, if you like it, if you want Beth to study up on some music, here are the ways to do that. You can find us on Facebook at the Words of Art podcast. We're also on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google. If you're listening to it from the moon and beyond, I would love to be in contact with you. I still want intergalactic and interdimensional broadcasts to happen. It is possible. But until then, from all of us here at Words of Heart, again, thank you for joining me, Beth Thorp. Again, your son's story lives on through you, and I love that. So again, stay healthy, stay safe. If you want to get in contact with me, I am on Twitter at HeartWarrior24 and on Instagram at HeartWarrior25. So again, stay healthy, stay safe, keep writing your story. It will have the power to change lives. So much love, and until next time, bye.